Hello, folks. Welcome to 10 Ways to Use AI in DBeaver. I'm Dave Stokes, and I want to again welcome you to this webinar. This is in two parts, one where I'm talking about the community edition, and Zach will be talking later about the professional versions. We're going to start in just a minute or two. Zach, how's the weather at where you are right now?
It is really nice. It was 95 yesterday. It's only going to be 84 today, and it's 67 right now. And I closed my windows were open, but I closed them for the weather.
Well, here in Texas, it's going to be 40 centigrade later today, and a little bit warm in the afternoon. But right now, it's a fairly reasonable temperature, and we hope that wherever you are, you're nice and comfortable. Once again, we'll start again in just a minute. We wanted to give the folks who always have the last minute scramble to get in a chance. And of course, the wonderful folks at Zoom who are supporting this make it easy, but we want to make sure that everyone has a chance to participate. By the way, this is going to be recorded, and you'll get a link later to where it's recording. And I'll mention again in a moment that if you have questions, please put them in the chat. We have folks standing by who, if they can answer it as we're going, we will, but Zach and I will pause at the end to go through your questions and answer what we can. And if we can't, we know the brains behind the product who will be able to give us, the perfect 100% concise, clear answer for your questions. Okay, it's 2 minutes in. Let's start. Okay. This webinar is in three parts. Each has a live demo. We're going to be showing you practical ways to use artificial intelligence across the DBeaver product line, from the free features in the MySQL in the DBeaver Community Edition to the advanced AI and MCP in the DBeaver PRO editions. I hope you'll be very impressed with this. I know it always amazes me some of the things we can do now with the product. Once again, ask questions in the chat. We will get to them. And at the end, if we don't have it answered during the running of this webinar, we also have a Q&A at the end. So please stick around for that, because you'll find out some wonderful information from that alone. And once again, this is being recorded, and you'll get a link, and you'll get that link in the email as soon as we have it ready to send out to you, which is usually 25 to 30 minutes. So please forgive the delay. Now we're going on to the DBeaver community. AI has been in the DBeaver community in a limited way up until recently. We now have AI commands in the SQL editor, and you'll see how that works. The great thing about this, it gives you great accuracy and large schemas. You'll find it a very handy tool. I want to emphasize that there is a lot of privacy built into DBeaver. You have to approve what you share with the AI. You can filter out things. So if you have a list of customers and a list of customer credit cards, and you don't want the AI to know about the credit cards, you can filter that out. And it's gives you a lot of range and options. So let's go on. Oh, by the way, before we go much further, if you don't know much about DBeaver, we support a lot of databases. So if you are working on a regular basis with more than one, you really need DBeaver. And you'll see the AI features are absolutely extraordinary to help you get your work done, and it empowers you to do more than you ever thought possible. Now, the AI chat in DBeaver is new in the community edition. What's interesting about it is that we have smart completion. It knows what you're trying to ask before you ask it. And when you look over at the main window, over on the right-hand side, you see the AI assistant, where it shows you what schema you're working with. Down here on the bottom is where you can put in your prompts, and you'll get answers to your prompts over on the right-hand side. And of course, you can examine the SQL that's generated for you. You'll find out it is very clean and concise code and easy to read. Also, we have the @AI feature. This takes your query that you wrote into the SQL editor and will put the prompt through AI to come up with the query of your desire here. In this example, we're asking show all customers and names and surnames and addresses and the sum of their payments from this table. And it will go out and look at the structure of your table and compose the proper query. The great thing about this is you stay in the SQL editor. You're not popping between windows. You're not popping between tools. It's all in one place. It gives you instant access to everything you need, and it is very handy. And this is now available across all the DBeaver desktop editions, including Community and Team Edition, both the desktop and web model. You get it all in one place and very easy to use, as you'll see in just a moment. Now, you can point AI at the right part of your database. If you want it to be able to access all the tables in a schema, no problem. If you want it to target particular tables, like you see in this example, you can say, okay, I want the AI to know about album, artist, and customer, plus employee, but I don't want it to know about the invoices. This way, you're protecting your data, and it will ask you, what exactly do you really want to send this data over before it actually does the first use of the AI. Now, by default, DBeaver shares only the metadata. So if you want to see the structure but not the data, easy to do. I'll show you that. You can also give it small samples of the data to give it a better idea of what it's looking at and looking for. Now, the Community Edition works with OpenAI and GitHub Copilot, two outstanding LLMs out there. The most recent models are included, and I think you'll see how powerful they really are. Now, DBeaver PRO supports a lot more engines and local models, and Zach will cover that in part 2. So I'm going to go on to a demo. Hold on just a minute while I stop sharing there. And this is DBeaver Community Edition 26.1.4. And before we proceed further, let me show you my settings. So under Window Preferences, AI, here we're enabling all the AI integration. We'll skip over that for now. Configuration. You'll notice that we can take your input in all these languages and translate them to SQL. And what's also interesting is that you determine how things operate. Select statements, you can have it execute immediately. You don't have to worry about it doing anything untoward to your data. Modifications, if you're doing an update or insert, it will ask you, do you really want to do this? Because this is the last chance you have to keep yourself from doing something that you may not want to do. Also, with schema changes, if you're doing DDL changes, and you want to make sure that it's right, double check the code before you commit to it, and you have control over that. And lastly, other. This is kind of a catch-all for things that don't fit in select modifier schema. If it detects something that's no SQL-ish in your code, it will make sure that you're doing exactly what you want. Now let me go to Engines. Now the Community Edition, you have your choice of OpenAI or Copilot. What you do is you go out and authorize your token. It gets pasted into here. You select your model. I think the default right now is GPT-4.1. And you can say content size window and temperature. By the way, test connection lets you make sure that everything is talking happily before you use it. And let's go here. Now, today, I'm using the Postgres DVD database. This is kind of the analog to the Sequila database in MySQL. It's been around for a while, and it is, as you'll see, an interesting choice for working with AI if you haven't done it before. Now, for those of you not used to DBeaver, over here on the left are my database connections. Here is the SQL console. On the right-hand side is the AI chat. I can toggle it on and off over here and get to the configuration. So I can ask it to, either here I can type @AI, or I can come down here to the lower right and ask it to list all the customers who did not rent a film in the 90 days before the highest rental date. Believe it or not, folks, before all the streaming services hit, if you wanted to watch a movie, you had to go to a store and rent the actual DVD, or we're in that cartridge. And this is a database that mocks the running of one of those type of businesses. And I send the query to the AI, and you'll notice up here that we have a list of tokens. That's the cost of your query. And I asked list all the customers who do not run a film in the 90 days before the highest rental date. And it explains how the logic works on the query. And it has an explanation of how everything works. Now I can copy over to the main stage here what's going on, where it repeats the logic. By the way, you can tune that so you can have this no explanation or more detailed explanation, or you can say, talk like a private and have the explanation show up in that. And here you see that we have 2 CTEs, max rental, recent renters, and here's the query. Very clean, very concise. And to run it, get the little gold triangle over here, and we get our answer. Once again, if you have questions, please put them in the chat. Now, let's say that this query is good, but we want a little more detail. Please add the date of those customers' last rental. By the way, AI is pretty good at ignoring my fat fingering, which is helpful. So it goes out and compares what it did last time to my request. And it tells me, here's how you add the date of each customer's last rental to the previous query. So you can iteratively work on queries and develop more complex stuff on the fly as you go. If you notice now, we now have 3 CTEs, and very clean, very good code. And running it, we find out when our customers made their last rentals. Now, of course, this is 21 years ago data. Your stuff's going to be much more up to date. Let's say this is great, and the boss comes back to you and said, yeah, but where exactly are these customers? You can ask, how do I add GPS information on the customers to the schema? Now, we could have just said, how do I add GPS information, and let it go at that. And it probably would have come back and asked, well, are you talking about the customer, the store, and all that? And it comes back and tells us to add GPS information, latitude and longitude for the customer, you need to decide where to store the data. That's a nice obvious thing. And in this case, it's going to suggest we use the address table. And in here, it shows us the alter table statement. And notice it has not run that. And if we go to run that, it it runs it rather easily. I could have had it configured so that before any alter table, it would say, hey, do you really want to do this? But this is a simple example of having it modify the structure for you. Okay, more questions. How do I find the top 5 films in the top 3 metro areas? Now, if you're an old DBA like me and someone says top 5 films, okay, that means film table, top 3 metro areas. Ooh, I'm looking at addresses. So I'm going to have to join at least 2 tables. And if I don't know the structure, I'm going to spend a lot of time looking at the tables. I ask the AI how to do this. And as you can see, it is going out and calculating exactly how to do that. And much faster than I could even look at the first table in the schema. It figures out, well, we need the top 5 films, we need the top 3 metro areas, and it writes out the query for us. So once again, we get a CTE, we get a query with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 joins, if not more. And when we run it, you'll see down here that we get our answer. Okay, but you like that query, but you kind of want some more information. And we asked, make that the top 5 metro areas by revenue. So it's going to examine the last query, it's going to examine the schema, and it's going to make a modification to the last query. And it explains exactly, once again, what it's doing and how it calculates what goes on. Run the query. And now we know what the revenue is. And let's go a little bit further. You're happy with these queries, things are going well, and you want to know more. We can ask are there any indexes to add to? Are there any indexes? Now let me fix the spelling. Are there any indexes so it will take a look at your query, take a look at the tables. It will see where the where clauses are and what's in the where clauses. And it will tell you that for the queries above, which join and filter on city ID, customer ID, address ID, rental ID, film ID, and payment ID, it will make suggestions on what can be done. And it's going to create an index that uses city ID and address ID. Let me swap back to the presentation. So that was the community edition. Zach's going to show you the extraordinary stuff you can do with the Pro editions. The community is great. Pro has some features that you probably are desiring, and Zach's going to show them off. Off to you, Zach.
That's what I'm going to do. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for all the questions, by the way, everybody. Feel free to keep them coming. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. And we are going to talk about all of the different features that are available in DBeaver Pro. So if you're not familiar with our kind of commercial model, So obviously we've got DBeaver Community Edition, we've got Cloud Beaver Community Edition, and then everything that's our commercial, under our sort of commercial umbrella, we classify as DBeaver Pro. So that includes the desktop products, Lite Edition, Enterprise Edition, Ultimate Edition, and then that includes our server-based products, otherwise known as Cloud Beaver. So Cloud Beaver Enterprise Edition and Cloud Beaver Team Edition. So I'm going to be showing off DBeaver Enterprise Edition. And then today, what we're going to go through is we're going to go through some of the tools in DBeaver that you can enable via the AI chat, including file uploads, and then also some functions that I'll go through. We're going to go through the explain query, how you can use AI to look at your SQL explain plan and fix any SQL errors as well. We'll go over the token usage metrics and how you can dial in the context so that you're not sending more tokens than you need to the model. And then we're going to go over our MCP server features. So how you can actually incorporate external MCP servers into the DBeaver AI chat, and then how you can actually use DBeaver as an MCP server. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the features that you can turn on, if you will, via the AI chat. So right now I've got this Oracle database open. It's got some like faux sales in there. So we've got some like customers, the countries that they're in, costs of the different products, sales of the different products. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use my AI chat, and I'm going to say something like, let's do can you do a data comparison between my products and promotions tables? And you can see at the top, I've got my Oracle database selected, so I can go ahead and click that. And then it does that. Let's try one more time. Let's open that. I'm going to open that. And I'm going to say, can you do a DBeaver data comparison between my products and promotions tables? There we go. So it opened up the tables. So I've got my demo user dot promotions and demo user dot products. I'll click there and I'll proceed. And then I've got a nice clean. It's basically the index tables, but I can see the differences between those two tables. I can do a schema comparison. So schema comparison is a feature that's like really popular for DBeaver Enterprise, as you can imagine. Just being able to see the differences if you've got a bunch of different schemas. So I could say something like, please do a DBeaver schema comparison between my anonymous and demo user schema. Let's do that. And then it pulls over the schema compare. I can do, just saves me a little bit of time. So I can do the anonymous table on the left. I'll compare that to the demo user table on the right. Proceed. And then you can see all the different differences between the two schemas. I can create a report. So if I want to do a JSON report, DDL report, plain text report, I can I can create a report for that schema comparison. Lots of other things you can do. So I could do something like, please export my customers table as a CSV. Run that. And it opens that up, and then I would just put that into my directory, into my home directory, and then you can pick whatever directory you want to put it into from there. Then the other thing you can do is you can actually, this will save you a good amount of time, you can upload files directly into your database. So I'm going to open up a new chat, just kind of keep everything clean. Let's attach a file, and let's call the file, well, file's already called something, but 100 sales records. I'm going to open that up. And then there's a couple things you can do. So I can open that as a table. So it just opens it as like a file. So I can play with this file. I can run the SQL script against this file, what have you. I could also do another thing. Go back into here. Let's open up. Let's close that. Let's open up the file again. And then I can import that data really easily. So saves me a little bit of time. I've got the sales records already opened. I'm going to pick my Oracle database to put it in. Oh, and then I just have insufficient quota. Probably put it on the wrong database. So let's put it on, let's go back. Let's actually put it on demo user. There we go, much better. Have enough quote on there. So I will import that. Save me some time so I don't have to go through and import the manual way. Like Dave mentioned, so there's a lot of different engines that you can actually use in Enterprise Edition. So as Dave mentioned in Community Edition, you do have access to OpenAI, so ChatGPT. You can use GitHub Copilot. But with DBeaver Pro, you have a lot more options. So you can use Amazon's Bedrock models, Anthropic's Claude models that are very popular now, Azure's OpenAI service, Google Gemini, and then if you want to host your model locally, you could use Ollama, so you're not actually sending data to the data to those model providers. And then you can pick whatever model you want. I think Stacy mentioned it in the chat, but we've got this nice refresh button. So you don't have to wait for us to import a model. You can just refresh. And so I've got 5.6 Sol. I think that's ChatGPT's latest model. So you can use the most powerful models that are available to you. So there's some other kind of like operational things you could do with the model. That's not just like chatting to the model. So let's say, for example, I want to go back to my query here, over here. And I'm just going to close these. And so I've got this query. It's pretty long. It's got a bunch of common table expressions. I've got some joins. And so what I'd like to do is I just like to analyze this query because I don't quite understand it. Maybe I imported it from Git using our Git integration from another colleague of mine. So I'm going to just say, please explain this query using the AI. So again, it's going to use 5.6 Sol, and it's going to give me some pretty robust analysis of the AI, or rather of the query, because the AI models are so powerful. So you can see this Oracle query produces a monthly sales and profitability report for demo user. It's grouped by product category, sales channel, and month. Gives me the processing stages, and then it also tells me what the final output is. So let's say I was going to make some changes to this query, but let's say I'm not like all that good at SQL. Spoiler, I'm actually not all that good at SQL, but let's say I just make a typo in there, make a change to it, and then let's go ahead and let's run that query. So if I run that query, oh gosh, I got an error. Big surprise, I messed up that table. But let's say I don't understand the error. I mean, I can see the SQL error. I guess I could Google that error, but I'd like the AI to just explain that error for me. And so if I click on the AI explain and fix, it's going to look at the error, and it's going to kind of run through the table names. It's going to kind of do it in an agentic fashion, which is kind of how we're expecting our AI models to perform nowadays. And it was pretty simple. So it told me that I messed up the table name. It should be channel ID, and then it gives me the correct SQL script. So I could edit that or copy that SQL script in. I'm just going to manually change it back. Okay, so I've got the right SQL script now, but I do want to see kind of what this SQL script is going to do from a cost perspective. Let's say it's like a really long SQL script, several thousand lines. I do want to check out the execution plan. So the execution plan, if you're not familiar with it, basically goes through the cost of each part of the query. It sort of gives you a visual reference of what the costs are. So the queries that have the red on the bottom line are going to be more expensive than the queries that have the yellow on the bottom line, and then also you can kind of see it, but the green on the bottom line. But again, this is like not something that I'm super familiar with if I'm looking at this explain plan for the first time. So I'm going to ask the AI to explain the plan to me. It's a pretty robust query. So as we can see, we've got select statements. I've got different costs for the query. I've got a partition. I've got a hash. We've got some bitmap indexes. And so this might take maybe a minute. Okay, great. So the plan interpretation. So we got and it's going to keep going. So we've got please excuse my noise you hear on the outside. So we've got the expected execution flow, just talks about the different parts of the query. So we've got sort by, we've got a group by, we've got a join, and it also talks about the hotspots of the query. So we've got some cost aggregation, and then I think it'll even give us improvements. So we got targeted improvements. It's going to remove unused cost calculations, as you can see. It's going to give me the part of the query that I can use to fix it. It's going to tell me to remove a join, and then it's going to give me the indexes that I could add as well. And then as well, you can explain different parts of your database. So if I wanted to use this feature called explain objects, so I've got this profits view. Let's just go ahead and poke that open. And it's got just a view of just kind of aggregates the different profits, probably profit margins that are associated with my faux data here. And then what I could do is I can actually describe this database object. So let's click on that. And then what that's going to do is going to tell us a little bit more context about the object that I picked. But I could do, for example, functions. I could do stored procedures, basically anything that's in your database. And obviously it's Oracle, so it's got lots of different objects that I could take a look at. So it's going to run through that. And then it's going to tell me, so it's an Oracle view. We knew that. It's not a physical table, but it provides a sale level profitability data set. It tells me the different columns, shows the different connections that make up the view. And then it shows basically like the two tables that make up the profits. So sales and costs, that totally makes sense. And then as well, you can see we've got the token costs on the bottom. So you can see what each of these queries is actually costing you. And then as well, you can change actually what part of the database that you want to include in the scope. So again, there's this little button. It says change scope. If I click on that, I can apply the AI to this connection, this conversation. I could just do the current schema, or I could do all the objects that are on the database itself. And I could customize the schemas, or rather customize the scope as well. So if I wanted to, I could come in here and select individual schemas, or I could select individual tables. So if you're working with super large tables and maybe there are some tables that you don't want to incorporate in the context, you can customize the scope so that you don't have to unnecessarily send tokens that you don't need to. Obviously, tokens are becoming a little bit more pricey nowadays. There is one other feature while I'm still in Enterprise Edition that I wanted to show you that I referred to, which is the ability to pull in external MCP servers. So what I've done, and you can go ahead and do it yourself, you can go into the Settings tab. There's the Tools and MCP. And then what you could do is you can add your own MCP server. So the one I added is called Context 7. If you're not familiar with Context 7, it's basically an MCP server that corresponds to like documentation. So documentation for Oracle, documentation for Python. Really, it's lots of different types of documentation. And then I can actually decide what permissions that DBeaver actually has in the MCP server. So to actually query the documentation itself, I'm going to have it ask me when it does that. And then I could do something like analyze my demo user schema according to Oracle documentation best practices, and let me know if there's any improvements I can make. Run that. And then what's going to happen is it's going to ask me for permission to query the context 7 MCP server. So we're going to allow. And then if I go, it's a pretty big schema. Got a few different tables in there. So let's see what it says. It's probably going to give me, and it's 5.6 sol, so it's probably going to give me some pretty robust analysis. And then you can even check, again, we're running in like an agentic fashion, so you can even check what it's actually querying in these different like agent steps, if you will. So assessment, let's see what it says. Demo user resembles Oracle's sample star schema. Let's see, highest priority improvements. Define keys for sales and costs. Add not null constraints. There's a missing demographic relationship. So it gives me some pretty robust analysis based on that context 7 MCP server. So yeah, definitely, like if you're a DBeaver customer, you're thinking about it, want to check out a trial, I would definitely encourage you to pull in different MCP servers, especially if those are part of your database administrator, developer, what have you workflows. Now, the other feature I wanted to show you is where we actually use DBeaver as an MCP server. So what I'll do is I'll show you CloudBeaver, since CloudBeaver is a server itself. And you can see I've got CloudBeaver Enterprise Edition. What we're going to do is we're going to look at my my SQL Server database, and then it's got a database in there called AdventureWorks. AdventureWorks is like a faux bicycle company. So we've got a bunch of different schemas. So we've got like my sales schema. I can take a look at like these different salespeople, sales territories, just like stuff that's related to the business itself. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to edit your connection. And then there's a little AI section for each connection. It's disabled by default. So you're going to need to enable those. And what you can do is you're going to enable the MCP server. And then it even gives you the MCP endpoint that you can add into your coding tool of choice. I'll show you mine here in a second, but we've got endpoints that you can use for Cursor, VS Code, Claude, and Zed. But really, you can just figure out like what the configuration is for your tool, and you can use it. I'm going to be using Codex, so that's like ChatGPT's version of Claude Code, but obviously Claude Code, Cursor, they're all like super powerful, and you can use your models of choice. I'm going to be using 5.6. Actually, I guess it's 5.5, but still a super powerful model. I'm connected to my MCP server. Again, it's a like faux bicycle company. So I'm going to say something like, just high level, can you do some analysis for me about my AdventureWorks schema itself? And then, yeah, so you can analyze the schema itself with a super powerful model. So it's going to do a little analysis here. But one super cool use case that I heard is if you've got like databases that you don't have documentation for, maybe you've got hundreds of different schema, there's hundreds of different tables in each one of those different parts of the schema. You could use this tool with your MCP server to do some analysis of the database and of the schema. So you can have it create, for example, like a .md document for your database, so you can see what the different schemas are, what's in the tables, what are the columns, so you can reverse engineer some documentation for your databases super easily. So we've got it's an OLTP schema. I've got my different tables here. 25 tables in production, 309 columns, 28 foreign keys. It's got the main design pattern. Most important tables. So it told me my sales order. So that's an order level fact table. That makes sense. We've got the different relationships. So production.product is referenced by 14 foreign keys. Lots of different rows. So yeah, just some really interesting, again, you can reverse engineer your database schema kind of at the click of a button now. And then with the actual data itself, you could do some really interesting high level analysis. So I can say, I'm a business intelligence VP for AdventureWorks. Can you please do some analysis for me about our data that I can present to our CEO? So let's run that. And then again, you're using like the most powerful models that you have right now, or at least you have the option to, so you can do some really high level analysis of your databases. And then there's also this concept now that we're using like agentic servers, there's this concept of actually agentic governance. And so the nice thing about using DBeaver as the MCP server is you can build in controls to the MCP server. And so what I mean by that is the DBeaver MCP connection is going to be governed by the permissions that are only available via the connection. So if I'm a user and I've only got permissions for this AdventureWorks schema, then I'm not going to be able to access other parts of the database. For example, if I couldn't access this border crossing demo or this master database, then I wouldn't be able to. So with the DBeaver MCP server, you can actually build in some governance so that the agent doesn't have access to like anything and everything that maybe it shouldn't have access to. So here's some CEO-ready BI analysis for the AdventureWorks data. Then you can see it tells me my revenue, my orders, average order value 3,900 for this like 3-year period. We got some average order value. That's the main warning signal. Looks like our average order value went down from the years 2012 through 2014. And then what other cool tidbits do we have? We've got geography, and then the geographies looks like Australia is doing really well. We've got some customer concentration that we might want to diversify that a little bit. So we've got our top 10 customers make up 7% of the revenue, and then our top 100 customers make up 35% of our revenue. And it gives me even recommended CEO actions. So protect and expand the sales rep / store channel, investigate why the average order value is going down. So again, if you're using ChatGPT Codex, Claude Code, Cursor, you don't have to context switch. You can hook in your databases super easy, and you can do some really awesome high-level analysis of your schema. So that's everything I had to show you in DBeaver Pro. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and transition into Q&A now, but I did have a question. If you could be so kind as to drop it in the chat. If you are using DBeaver's AI functionality, what are the top reasons that you're using AI with DBeaver? That would be a great question for us to know, and maybe some of your peers that are on the chat to know. So yeah, go ahead and let us know if you have any questions.
And it looks like we have someone who raised their hand also. It looks like Dami Lola. And we'll go ahead and open it, Dami Lola, so you can ask your question. It looks like you are still muted. You can unmute yourself and you can ask the question if you still have a question. Okay, so it looks like we're not able to get the question from Dami Lola. Let's go ahead and leave it open in the chat. If anyone has any questions, now is a good time to add your question and we'll go ahead and answer it live. Either way, if it's Community Edition, AI or DBeaver Pro, you can go ahead and ask your question and we will answer it for you. We'll give it a few moments. I don't think we see any questions right now. It was great. I think a lot of people asked some really great questions here in the chat already, which is awesome. And we hope that you enjoyed this webinar. And you'll see Anna just posted in the chat where you can find us on social. We will also be posting a video of this webinar on our YouTube, and we will be following up with you. And we'll have a survey, and on the survey, we'll ask you about your experience with DBeaver, about the AI and DBeaver. And if you have experience using it, great. If you don't, great. Just go ahead and answer for us. It really helps us understand what we can be doing better for our AI capabilities, and also how you're using the AI features. In addition to that, we will also be sending a video of the webinar. I hope that you find it really helpful. You can always go back and watch a section if you found it interesting. It does look like we have one question that just popped up from Alberto. Does the DBeaver AI chat interface provide a built-in token counter or a metrics panel to track input-output token usage? Thanks. Zach.
It does. So if I go back to my screen here, should I share?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go back to my screen. There is a button here. If I go to the settings, it says show total tokens spent. And so you can see the output tokens and the input tokens as you write your queries. So yeah, that's totally a feature.
Cool. That was a really good question from Alberto. If anyone else has any questions, you have a few seconds to go ahead and add it in the chat. Otherwise, you will have a video recording of this that you can watch later. And Alberto, thank you for that great question. Thank you so much for everyone who attended. I hope that you found it helpful, that you learned something new, and feel free to provide your feedback when we send you the email follow-up. Thanks so much, everyone. I hope that you have a great day, whether it's a morning or an afternoon. Have a great one. Bye.
Bye.